No, kale when it's not cooked
Both
is
kale the food and kale the person. Sounds disgusting.
oh.
I don't even know kale, so.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the 131st episode of the Pokemon Podcast 131. My name is SBJ. Oh, that was weird. And you are listening to It's Super Effective with Travis.
Yeah, as this massive snowstorm is like gripping North America, it's starting to look a little bit like Black and White 2 out there, you know? You know what I'm saying?
I hear you loud and clear.
Is the fact that Will isn't laughing like the largest Black and White 2 apologist in the universe?
There's nothing to apologize for.
Means
perfectly fine
that
game.
my joke was awful.
You could have said
somebody
it's like this
laughed at it.
massive snowstorm, like Curum is out there or something like that, but you're like being so obscure.
How is it obscure? It's the title of the thing I'm referencing.
That other voice you hear there is Will.
And my favorite vegetables include Brussels sprouts, peas, carrots cooked and raw, sweet potatoes, many types of squash with a shout out to spaghetti squash with marinara sauce on it, zucchini, and eggplant.
God, what is this show turned
Did all
into?
those vegetables like give you a Pokemon through Twitter, so you had to give them a shout out?
Yes. I traded Pokemon with each one of those vegetables.
Normally, our show does surprisingly well on staying on topic, but let's get off topic real quick before we even dive into things. Do you guys have New Year's resolutions?
My resolution was to give up and stop trying, which I've been very successful at. I went to Z-Burger last night. I got a double bacon cheese with fully loaded, which means mushrooms, pickles, mustard, ketchup.
Now you're giving a shout out to condiments.
Condiments. I got the onion rings, which they do their own battered onion rings with a dipping sauce and a strawberry shake. So I have given up. I'm not trying with the healthy anymore. And I'll just eat whatever I want. And my cat,
your cat's not satisfied with your new diet.
So that was mine. What about you, Travis?
I like to. So here's my thought process. If you keep the bar low, and you don't disappoint yourself. So my New Year's resolution was to tidy up the apartment. So that happened, and
you're done.
That's all I need to do for 2014.
You're just easy sailing now.
Disclaimer: the whole set the bar really low thing is probably horrible advice and the worst advice I've ever given, so don't follow that.
My New Year's resolution is to actually start drinking water. So I've been trying to drink like 8. Is that what they say, Will? 8 cups of water?
8 glasses of water a day.
What is this show?
It's about healthy living.
Healthy living with SBJ.
All I know is we've been talking about vegetables, cleaning your house, drinking water. I'm pretty sure we're supposed to talk about Pokemon.
That's because our 2 Pokemon-related news articles are so bad that we don't want to talk about them.
Oh.
And even you, Travis, can agree to that.
Yeah, they're pretty. We're scraping the bottom of the barrel here. The bottom of the barrel.
All right, so we'll just dive right into news. We actually have more than 2 news articles, but some of them are so short that they're literally just a sentence long. First super short one is Pokemon X and Y had maintenance today. That was affecting online play. While you are listening to this episode, that time would have passed. So that news is irrelevant.
I disagree with that news article, and I feel that maintenance was not for Pokemon X and Y.
You think it's for
trying
like
to
government
stir up some
plotting?
controversy and discussion. Yes, they're trying to hide the Kennedy assassination during this update.
Do people still care about are there still conspiracy theorists who talk about the Kennedy assassination? I feel like they've all moved on to like
The X-Files.
Ancient Aliens and History Channel stuff.
You would be amazed.
Right.
That article, believe it or not, was right off the Nintendo Network status. So, well, not the article, but the source of the article. The second bit.
This goes higher up than you could possibly imagine.
I told you.
The second bit of news is Pokemon Bank still isn't out.
Yeah, well, I still haven't completed the Kalos Pokedex, so that's why.
You're getting real lucky.
Yeah, but I'll be getting my copy of Pokemon X tomorrow, so I can just farm it for evolution stones, and we'll put an end to that.
Throw some Harvest Moon up in there.
I have Harvest Moon. I haven't played it yet.
It's a joke.
Well, about vegetables enough in this show, so can we talk about all the vegetable options in Harvest Moon for a good 20 minutes?
But do you normally save up to buy a cow first, or do you buy like a chicken head first?
I've never played Harvest Moon. I got it as a Christmas present from a friend of mine a year ago, and I have never even cracked it. Can you really grow vegetables?
Yeah, that's all you do in Harvest Moon.
I thought you got married and wore
You
gender.
do that too.
Well, it's a farming simulator thing.
Yeah,
Simulator is used
more,
liberally there.
It's more farming than living a life.
Well, that works for me because I've been using Farmers Only dating site, and I felt kind of guilty about it since obviously I'm not a farmer. But if I start playing Harvest Moon, that gives me a little more cred.
Are you actually? Because that's beautiful.
A little more.
Are you using farmersonly.com? Or is that like a bit? Because I can't tell.
Wait, is farmersonly.com an actual website, Travis?
Yes,
Sure.
Yes. What?
Okay, so the dishonesty there was that's not the only dating site I use. I also use ourtime.com.
I don't know what that one. Oh, is that if you're like 60 or something?
Is that really?
Yeah.
I thought it was like retweet dating.
Oh God, they have TV
I
commercials.
don't watch TV.
I still
Pokemon
don't
Anime's debuted on that. I don't watch it. That was a sick
I don't
word.
know if Will's serious about the Farmers Only. I hope he is.
I meet a lot of fine gentlemen on farmersonly.com.
Lots of flannel, I imagine.
That's, as a dude who came of age in the early 90s, flannel is my thing, so.
Might be the longest possible.
It's not like Seattle flannel. It's like
Fashion flannel, that's a little less along those lines, but
fashion flannel is my Lady Gaga Pearl Jam crossover cover band.
Eddie Vedder makes the worst Lady Gaga cover.
Speaking of bad songs, which also come from bad artists, there was an artist for the older crowd called Snoop Dogg.
Snoop
There are so many shots fired in that sentence.
Snoop Dogg got reincarnated, for those of you that didn't know, and became Snoop Lion. Now, you're all probably wondering why we're talking about Snoop Lion. You guys are probably already turned off the show, because now we're talking about Snoop Lion after...
Imagine the 1-star reviews just rolling in iTunes. For so long. I listened to one episode, and they didn't even talk about Pokemon. You're 20 minutes in, and...
I went from water to vegetables to Snoop Lion. This is actually Pokemon related, though. In an article on Polygon, the latest music video from Snoop Lion features references to classic video games, putting first and foremost Pokemon in the video. If you wanted to check it out, his song is Get Away from the album Reincarnated. And it has heavy references to the Pokemon franchise. Snoop Dogg walks through a town, which looks like an 8-bit version of red/yellow/green. And he comes across a character named Major Lazer. They end up Pokemon battling each other with like a church and a metal Geodude. It's really weird.
Do you
Well-
get the red, yellow, green thing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
So, in the battle that Snoop Lion was having with Major Lazer used a metal type or steel type Pokemon against Snoop Lion's obviously fire type Pokemon, and actually did damage. And that was so inaccurate, I couldn't watch any more of the video besides the horrible, horrible song that was playing, even though I had it turned very low volume.
There's some move called like Super Punch or something. Obviously, fighting type did not deal super effective damage to that cheap Geodude steel type knockoff. So
Tremendous number of inaccuracies.
the animation of the video, aka Snoop Lion walking around this 8-bit town, is actually pretty boring. And what's really disappointing is that the music doesn't actually like go with what's happening on the screen. Like
there are some like electronic pew pew.
Oh wait, no, yeah,
here and
but-
there.
And when you get to the end where it has the big speaker system that's firing at them, I think that's in time to the music. Like when Major Lazer and Snoop Lion join up and they get in their rocket ships and they're... Did you not make it that far?
I gave up after they got onto the rocket ships.
Yeah, see, okay, that's when it syncs up with the actual music.
Mm-hmm.
Although as a parody or simulation of Defender, it once again falls quite short. You don't even know what Defender is.
I know what Defender is.
I
Are you
don't.
sure? Oh God.
You mean like I know like I'm not gonna speak because it's gonna make me sound more stupid.
I actually had a book on how to play Defender and get high scores. And this is when it was an arcade game. You couldn't even have it for your home.
Your home
Defender
console.
for Dummies.
Something along those lines.
Speaking of dummies.
Yeah?
Yes.
You gonna go or?
Yeah, I didn't really want to talk about this news article. And then I read it. And then I was like, we have to talk about it because it's... I don't know. I don't want to be like, it's so wrong. Because usually when a rumor happens, it's because something is at least slightly right. But I don't know what to take away from this.
I don't know. A lot of people are talking about this. This set of rumors went up on. To be honest, I've never heard of this publication, dualpixels.com. It's probably a big thing. I've never heard of it. And
It's probably a big thing.
That means 2 pixels.
It's more than one. 2 pixels better than one. You know, that's what I always say. They claim that like this source has been correct in the past, but what they said was it says this came from the same guy who leaked Castlevania Mirrors of Fate being console bound, and that there's a Kingdom Hearts HD remix and countless information on E3. Well, the last one's really vague, and like anyone, like the first one's probably a lucky guess, and
The second one also a lucky
the second
guess.
one's really obvious that they're gonna like one of the most popular games on the PlayStation 2. Like, of course, it's gonna get an HD. Yeah. So I don't know. I think this guy probably just makes up things and is sometimes right.
Yeah, I
but-
mean,
Go ahead.
you read that first like couple sentences and you're like, okay, so like this guy's leaked some stuff and he was right. It builds your hope up for this article.
And they say that other times he's just been wrong. It
Right.
says, yeah, I can't remember where it is, but it says that he's just been wrong before. So
He's been right, he's been wrong. They only cite 2 things he was actually right about. To me, that's not a really good record of trust there,
yeah,
if that's my word. Like I feel like if you guys don't follow Apple, which is fine, there are sites that leak Apple stuff, and you can almost always confidently like say they've been right like 90% of the time, or even like 75% of the time. But here, like this guy's only leaking like 2 things that aren't even like that spectacular. Like no one even bought that Castlevania game. So it's like there's not a lot of weight behind what he was right about. But with that being said, there are quite a bit of rumors here. It's not like there's 1 or 2 things. We have a list that we're going to go through, and I'll read parts of the list and we'll comment and go on about it. But it's pretty much trying to set you up, saying that these are rumors. But here we go.
Well, just pay attention to what the article says. It could all be true right now, but it could all change tomorrow.
Oh yes, yeah.
How convenient!
All right, so the first rumor is Game Freak was one of the first development studios inside Nintendo to receive alpha prototype hardware. It has now been upgraded to beta prototype hardware. What does that mean? Absolutely nothing.
No, and also Game Freak are not inside Nintendo. Game Freak are a separate company completely from Nintendo. So
they're a second party, so I believe they're owned by Nintendo. I could be wrong.
They are owned by Nintendo.
To my knowledge, they're owned by Nintendo, so they're considered
I'd like to be
a second
owned
party.
by Nintendo.
Same.
It's like Disney and Pixar.
Yeah.
With that being said, like, what is this like alpha prototype hardware that could have easily been the 3DS, that could have easily been the Wii U, that could have been the 2DS, that could have been like a new SKU of the Wii U. Like that doesn't mean anything unless they're blatantly saying that there's going to be a brand new console, and I'm not thinking that's happening.
Why do you use the word SKU? Like people are going to know what that means.
Oh, like a SKU? I don't know.
I sort of liked it. I was just going to let him use it.
No, I have to speak for the audience here. That's the most confusing term ever if you have no idea what it means.
Like,
Can we go through the actual like rumors though?
No.
About the game mechanics. I'm just gonna steamroll through this. Blah blah blah. Lots of new ideas they wanted for years in the game. Blah blah blah.
You're gonna
Free
overhaul the basic
starters.
systems of battle, simplifying the process because Pokemon
All right,
battling is so hard.
Okay, so second rumor is they have few areas marked out, tons of concept art traveling between Pokemon and Nintendo. Again, you can throw that out. That means absolutely nothing. Third rumor, Game Freak plans to completely overhaul the basic system of battle, simplifying the process. Travis, go.
That's really doubtful. If anything, they're pushing the more competitive, detail-oriented side of things by making breeding for competitive easier in Gen 6. It seems like, if anything, they want more people to get into the competitive scene by lowering those barriers to entry, so it would be a little strange if they simplified the process that they just got a whole bunch of people into.
Also, that statement doesn't line up with releasing Fairy type to balance the game.
Yeah.
Because if they were going to overhaul the basic battle system, they would have just balanced all the types without releasing a new type. Fourth rumor is the development team is going to put a lot of ideas they wanted to do for years in this game. To me, this sounds like what was said right before Gen 6.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, they wanted Bank to happen for several years. They wanted the move to 3D to happen for several years. They wanted all this stuff. So I'm not sure like what revolutionary things they were going to add to a new game, more or less what was happening in Gen 6. Next rumor was 2 versions already have code names, possibly final names, Pokemon Plus and Pokemon Minus.
Pokemon Plusle and Pokemon Minun.
Yeah. Yep. I think it's safe to say after Pokemon Gray version that nothing is ever final or expected from Pokemon.
Minus seems weird to me. Like, it doesn't seem like you'd want association. Like, when I think of minus, I think like something
Negative.
subtracted. Like, you don't. I don't know if that's really the associations they would want to make.
Yeah. Plus, like, is it called minus? Is it just a minus sign? Because then it would maybe look like Pokemon Dash.
And that would get confusing because everybody is very familiar with the classic hit title Pokemon Dash.
Next rumor is the theme. The theme is very important here, Travis.
Old tradition versus new exploration. Can we please just go through the highlights of this? Because this is going to be excruciating. I'm
Travis
begging
is
you.
dying.
You want to go back to this
Please.
new flying article?
3 new starters with no names. Water evolves into water steel. Fire evolves into fire
no,
fairy.
new
Grass
region.
evolves
The
into
new region
grass
is kind of
electric.
important.
New region is based on Southeast Asia and one large peninsula with many smaller islands. Main legendary
Confirmed.
in plus is Psychic Ground. Main legendary in minus is Ghost Fairy. Oh, you know what's a thing I never completely escaped my consciousness until reading these rumors? That Pokken Fighters, that thing they showed a while ago, that's like a thing. It references that. Moving on. Gosh.
Wait, what about the new starters?
Yeah.
Let's through that.
It's a squat teardrop-shaped humanoid that has a jar filled with on its head. As it evolves, it grows taller and the jar bigger until it needs another set of arms to hold it on its head. That sounds like somebody I know.
What's weird about these types, if you didn't hear Travis rambling them, they have Water Steel, Fire Fairy, and Grass Electric. I was going to say, none of these types really match up besides your standard 3, but then I guess in, Gen 2, it was like Firefighting, Water Steel, Grass Ground. No, those lined up.
No, in Gen 2 there wasn't Water Steel. Well, Gen 3 is Swampert, which is Water Ground, Sceptile, which is Pure Grass, and then Firefighting, which is Blaziken.
Yeah, those don't really line up either.
Nope.
They have very bland descriptions for all these 3 starters. What Travis said, the main legendary for Pokemon Plus is a Shifu lion-looking Psychic Ground Pokemon that has multiple faces. The Pokemon minus legendary is a Ghost Fairy type that has 2 dashes for its eyes and a hurricane-like appendages with many arms and hands.
Okay. It's actually a Snoop Lion-looking Psychic Ground type. Confirmed! Rumor confirmed!
Yeah, I don't... On paper, these don't even sound cool.
I know.
Next thing is more traditional Pokemon-like gameplay will be on a handheld controller, while an all-new gameplay aspect will be on a terminal unit. So I think they're referring to this as supposed to be a console game, possibly with the Wii U. Again, this doesn't make sense if they have all these new features they mentioned above, and then they go, this game is going to be more traditional Pokemon-like gameplay on a controller. The rumors are contradicting each other. Moving on to the next rumor, the Pokken Fighters rendered that was teased was running alpha kits. Beta kits are now having advanced cell shading, going for a more detailed and, quote, living anime look. We didn't see anything that was really teased, and we don't know how good the graphics were to begin with. I don't know if you guys had thoughts on that.
We saw the Pokken. They're saying that the Pokken Fighters
Is this?
at least is the same models as the...
Yeah. The new team of villains that were described were a bunch of Zealot type people who have discovered the player's best friend as a reincarnation of a special type of person who is alive only every 100 years. This is believed to be an old system where people would give Pokemon eggs and they would stick to Pokemon until they died, and whose function would be society's blah, 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 blah. This seems very complicated for a game targeted towards 13-year-old boys.
It sounds like the whole Zealot thing. It sounds like a mixture. The whole Zealot thing and like the specific way of raising Pokemon just sounds like a mixture of Team Galactic and Team Plasma to me. You feel me? Because Team Galactic felt like a cult.
Team Galactic is pretty cool. Root connections. Roots connect the island together with water bridges, but clumps of land are connected together by underwater tunnels. Underwater tunnels sound pretty cool, I guess, in theory, but they're probably just as boring to walk through, just like underground tunnels in Red and Blue.
Yeah, and there's probably a bunch of Zubats.
Obviously. There is a stone Slow King statue that is a parody of reclining Buddha because it's supposed to be set in Asia. I don't know. There was a statue of Golurk in Gen 6. That means nothing.
Oh, and there are lots of statues in X and Y.
There's Pikachu bushes in Gen 5. So. Many Pokemon from Hoenn and Sinnoh will make a return. A variety of Pokemon gyms. One is a male system that uses only flying types and focuses on sky battles. One uses only baby type Pokemon. One is applied to be a vampire that uses ghost and dark Pokemon. Again, I don't think this is a good basis for anything. I can't imagine a Pokemon game forcing you to fight using baby Pokemon. Was there any point in the game where it forces you to use baby Pokemon?
No. Well, they're saying the gym leader also uses baby Pokemon.
I'm starting to hear whispering. I think it's the voice of the audience, and they're screaming to Steve to move on.
Oh man.
We have nothing else to talk about after this. The island gameplay with gym leaders in the Elite Four can be played entirely on the handheld and can be blown up on the terminal for home play.
So it's like Apple TV for Pokemon. Okay.
Yep. If this was an official game, why wouldn't they just say Wii U or 3DS?
I know!
New Pokemon types, similar to Shinies, yet no details on how they work. Or their actual description, but how they will change the game significantly. But remember, it's going to be a simpler game. The mainland is an MMO-like environment. Remember, guys, this is going to be a simpler game that is exclusive to the terminal and is shared by both versions. Players all over the world can online trade, chat, intermingle, and experience new updates from the storyline on the mainland.
Well, we know that immediately that this is all completely false because Nintendo and Pokemon will never let you chat with strangers.
Never. Nope.
That's never going to happen.
Swap Note says hello.
Oh, I miss Swap Note so much.
That statement right there. Well, and the one before, the MMO one, proves that this whole thing is not accurate.
Oh, no, you know what really proves that it's inaccurate? Your best friend must be mortally sacrificed to awaken the legendaries. Nobody dies in Pokemon.
Only
Kalema. Kalema.
And then finally, I guess there's two more rumors here. Pokemon Band is a new mechanic introduced to get people involved who do not battle. It is a cooperative experience where Pokemon dance and make music together to achieve the highest group score.
All right, Travis, you get the drums. Steve, you get the guitar, and I'll hold the Wiimote and dance around so we can win this thing.
The only thing in this whole article that is true is the last one, and it's not even that true. They mentioned Pokemon Bank will be accessible in this game. Newsflash, Pokemon Banks can be accessible in every Pokemon game. That's why it exists. Otherwise, they wouldn't have made it. Let's see here. And then they ended saying, a note from the Dual Pixel staff. Our servers are currently being overloaded with traffic. If you're unable to access the site, please see us on Facebook and Twitter.
But how would I read that if I'm not able to access the site?
I don't know how popular the site is, and no offense to the site, they're probably a great site. I do know it got quite a bit of shares on Facebook and Twitter and Reddit, according to the little share button here at the bottom. But I'm calling a lot of hoopla,
a lot of snubble,
a lot of hook'em,
a lot of Granbull.
Granbull. There you go. Pure Fairy type.
It's a better Pokemon now.
Yeah.
Play rough. Play rough.
I mean, we're supposed to be getting the Pokemon Tekken thing or whatever that is. I mean, we did see a screenshot of that, so that's possibly real, possibly coming out later this year. There's the rumors of the Pikachu Detective game. Again, we've known about that, but this is kind of blowing everything out of the water and trying to tie it into stuff we already know. I think it's a desperate grasp for traffic.
Well, you know what that Pokemon Tekken fighting game thing actually is, and I'm almost want to tell people that if they can't handle the truth, to like skip ahead in the podcast for 2 minutes before I reveal what actually happened with that.
Oh gosh.
Do you guys think you can handle it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Some dude from the Pokemon Company had like a DeviantArt screen cap that he thought looked really, really cool, and he forgot to take it out of the end of the PowerPoint. So they were just scrolling through the PowerPoint, and they got to the last slide, and it's like, Lucario versus Blaziken. Yeah! Oops, wait, that's not supposed to be on there. Click it off. And that was it. That's it. That's all it is. DeviantArt strikes again. I believe it was Carly, actually, who made that one. Travis, you got the inside on that.
I have no comment. I plead the fifth.
Comment.
I feel bad that I've broken so many people's hopes and dreams of a Pokemon fighting game, but...
Listeners, us three are some of the biggest Pokemon fans. Let me tell you. That's why we've been doing this show for 3 years. But...
You've
Pokemon...
been here for 3 years.
I've been here for 3 years. Unfortunately, I've been here the longest. That's the worst part. Let's put a little bit of reality in front of us right now. Pokemon Company hasn't even released the Pokedex for Gen 6. More or less making a game for a system that doesn't exist. Not plausible at all.
Well, the Pokedex is coming out on February 4th.
That's right.
Hey, news! I added a news item!
It's still on its way.
I added one more news to this newsless week.
They gotta finish one Pokedex before they start another.
Yep.
That's all we got for you guys. I think we're just throwing the towel and end the show.
So we're like 10 minutes in.
No, that's alright. Well, what we're gonna do is, that's all the news we have. I think we're all in agreement that this is a bunch of hoopla. And hoopla is the word of the month. Word of 2014, guys. We'll be right back.
I certainly hope not.
Hey guys, why isn't there like a sock Pokemon?
There is a sock Pokemon, isn't there?
If I'm not mistaken, isn't there like a sock on Garbodor, like hanging there?
Well, that's not a separate Pokemon all on its own.
Well, I think there's a sock there. Like, you're looking for a connection, and I'm providing you with the closest you're gonna get.
This is the closest sock connection we're gonna get here.
No, but this is, once again, a perfect example of how Travis is always wrong. Have you ever heard of a little Pokemon called Shuppet, which is basically a sock turned upside down?
It's a puppet.
Well, how do you make puppets, Mr.
close.
Rich Man? I make puppets by sticking my hand up a sock and going wah wah wah.
Maybe I stitch them together with felt, Will. Maybe I'm a craftsman.
Yeah.
No, a craftsman would be with like wood or something. I don't even know what the word would be. You can know that I'm not that.
Socks, wood, craftsmanship. This podcast is brought to you by FootCardigan.com. Foot Cardigan delivers one random pair of crazy... They deliver a pair of random crazy socks to your mailbox every month.
Use the code POKESOCKS, that's spelt out without the accent on the E and all lowercase, to receive your 20% off your Foot Cardigan Pay Once subscription. Now offering $2 shipping to anywhere in the world.
How do you spell it, Travis?
POKESOCKS.
Cool. Every month, they put the surprise back into your mailbox and fun on your feet. Foot Cardigan socks are a great gift for anyone, even for yourself. Now that that stupid December holiday is over, you can buy things for yourself again.
There you go. Will, didn't you post a picture of your said socks?
I believe I did when they came in the mail, and I'm going to be getting another set this month at some point.
The accidental alliteration in Steve's sentence was mind-boggling. Didn't you post a picture of said socks?
It was
Saturday, Sunday, and
Yes, it was a mystery because I checked my mail on Sunday because I only check my mail once a week, and there they were in the mailbox.
And how do they feel on your feet?
Saki. I have worn them about 5 or 6 times, and they are very comfortable, and I've always worn them at the most inappropriate of times.
Perfect. Perfect. It is the dream your feet always wanted. If you want inappropriate, comfy, crazy socks, get started at footcardigan.com today. And we are back from our break. Hopefully this is more Pokemon than you guys can handle in this segment. If you haven't completed Pokemon X and Y, we are going to spoil some stuff. We are going to talk about the Elite Four in the Kalos region. Dun, dun, dun. And so if you haven't beaten them or you don't want it spoiled, don't listen to this episode. But you've probably already turned off this episode because it's New Plan. Who do you want to start off with? Was there a specific order? Should I just name off the people here? How should we do this?
I think I went the top left chamber first, whichever that one is. I think it's
Wickstrom.
I think it's Wickstrom, yeah, the steel fella.
Yeah, steel is top left. Dragon is lower left. Water is lower right, and fire is upper left. I can't believe I remembered that.
Good job.
You started with steel. I started with dragon because I figured dragon was going to be the hardest. Will, do you know who you started with?
I think I started with steel myself.
Do you guys like that you can do them in any order?
Yes.
They introduced that in Gen 5?
Yep. I like it a lot because, like, you can, I don't know, you can shake it up or whatever because a lot of times people grind their Pokemon on the Elite Four and you can be like, I'm going to do it in this order this time and swap it up for the next one.
Yeah, and you can go like against the ones that are easier for your current team first and then level up a lot, and then as you get harder and harder, but your Pokemon level up more as you get through the more difficult ones for you to face.
Yeah.
I feel like this cast we have Seabold, which is the water Elite Four member. We had Drasna.
Sure.
Yeah, I guess.
Drasna, who is the dragon type. She's the master dragon type Elite Four member. We have Malva, who is fire. And we have Wickstrom, who is the steel.
We have Wikipedia, the steel.
We have Wikipedia. I'm going to throw this out there. I feel like these four are very similar to the personalities from the Kanto region. There's an exception there. I think Malva is a lot like L'Oreal. I think Wickstorm is a lot like Bruno. Drasna is a lot like Agatha, which is a little weird. And Seabold is a lot like Lance, which you would think the dragon person would be like Lance. I don't know. I kind of got that feeling when I went through it. Maybe that's stretching it, but I don't really remember Gen 5's Elite Four.
I have one question for you, Steve.
Yes.
When you went, have you fought the Elite Four just the one time, or have you gone back?
I've only fought them once.
Okay. When you went to Seabold and he's like, "Do you think Pokemon battling is a work of art?" What did you say?
Oh yeah, I think I said yes.
Then he's like, he's like, I like you. You I can dig, and then he battles you. But if you're like, no, Pokemon battling is not enough. He gets mad. He yells at you.
Really?
Like Mr. Asani style yells at you, and it's awesome.
Huh, I didn't know that.
Can you do that if you re-challenge?
Yeah.
I feel like that's a personality you can get from Lance, though. Like, Lance either really likes you or he doesn't.
What does Lance even say? Like, does he have 2 lines in both the games?
He says something like noble or something like that. But he does have 2 Dragonites because there wasn't enough dragon Pokemon in Gen 1.
Lance is like a tabula rasa. He's just a blank slate people apply their their own troubles too.
He
That
wa-
is so deep.
that is deep. Let's talk with Seabold. What Pokemon does he have? He has a Cloyster.
Clawitzer?
Clawitzer.
Clawitzer.
Yeah, like a howitzer, but a clawitzer.
What's a Howitzer?
It's an artillery weapon, I believe.
Ah,
Yeah, it's like a type of machine gun.
I did not know.
Mm-hmm.
So he has one of them. He has a Gyarados.
A Mega Gyarados. Or no, I'm wrong.
No, yeah, his doesn't
King
Mega
of-
Evolve.
Yeah.
What am I thinking of? I'm thinking of what's his face?
Lysander?
Lysandre.
Yeah. Never mind. Just kick me off the show.
He has a Starmie and a Barbacle.
Barbarical. Barbarian, but
Oh.
Super creepy hand head.
Yeah. 2 Gen
Fun
1s,
fact.
2 Gen 6s.
Can I have a fun fact? Can I give a fun fact?
Yes.
The word barbarian, from which Barbarical takes his name, started because people in the Roman Empire referred to anyone who didn't speak Greek as barbarians, because when they talked, according to the Romans, it sounded like bar. So, racism.
But the Romans spoke Latin,
I thought
so
Latin
did they
was just a
refer?
written language.
No.
Oh dang, I got this wrong. It's something like that.
Greeks spoke Greek, Romans spoke Latin.
Look, there's the important part is that there's a smidgen of truth in everything I say. It's the
A smidgen
the-
is exactly
it's
right.
the intent that counts. Yeah.
Wait,
It's the whole truth, but it's not nothing but the truth.
is there a leader out of these 4? I would assume that Malva is the leader.
What? The champion's
What?
the leader.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
No.
Are you like some kind of dummy?
The champion
Stop.
the champion is not associated with the Elite 4, hence why it's called the Elite 4. Lance was the leader of Kanto.
What? And your reasoning for this is what exactly?
I don't know, because he's the last one.
No,
Lance one.
they each have their own throne and their
Yeah.
own source of power. They're equivalents. I don't think that there's a leader.
Malva's the one though that talks to you outside, gives you the ropes.
Well, she just tells you what to do, kind of. I mean, a statue does that in Gen 5.
Steve, what we have here is a beautiful synergistic relationship. I made up that word between these 4 members, and what you're trying to do is impose a hierarchy.
I
don't think one needs to be there.
Definitely am. I think okay, so let's back up to Gen 2. I would put Karen in charge of that Elite 4, which is Karen, Bruno, Koga, and Will.
I think Will was in charge of that Elite 4.
I think there's a little bit of bias there.
I don't remember Gen 3's Elite 4 at all.
I try to forget.
There was a dude who was a fighting guy.
A Sydney, I think. No, Sydney is dark. I'm looking at it right now. Well, Drake is like a dragon ship captain, so he looks like he'd be a leader. Then we get to Gen 4, which is Aaron, Bertha, Flint, and Lucen.
Sure.
I didn't know if we were breaking up. Travis, are you there?
Yeah, I'm hanging out.
I didn't know if it was stuttering. I don't remember Gen 5 at all, and I don't think I could say half their names.
I believe there was Ghost, Dark, Fighting,
Psychic.
and Psychic.
Caitlyn.
So the Psychic is
Caitlyn.
the Psychic Caitlyn? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Can you name
The
them all?
Dark is a fella. His name is it's like, I don't know, he looks like a werewolf.
Yeah, he's a
It looks like
scary
he'd
looking
turn
dude.
into a werewolf if it were night.
Grimsley?
Grimsley.
Grimsley, yeah. And then the ghost is a lady who had a really long kind of name, and she writes books.
Chantel.
Chantel.
Anyone remember the fighting?
He had weird hair.
Mhm.
Kind of looks like Cliff's older brother.
Cliff Huxtable?
Yeah, he means Cliff Fox.
Oh, his name is Marshall.
That's right.
Gen 5 is super forgettable. I'm
Can
sorry.
we?
But wait, it violates your argument of the Elite Four because if you remember, Marshall was filling in as leader of the Elite Four when the champion was out roaming the land because he had left that area.
Well, maybe I think that Lance is the leader because Lance goes, I was just the champion until Blue came by.
Yeah, he was too new to the office to actually be a leader.
You think Lance was too new? I feel like Lance was
No, Blue.
oh, got it. Right. Well, like when you become champion, who's gonna take charge?
When I become champion, I will have no problem
from the
taking
person
charge.
who didn't even know who Alder was. So
That's right. Where's Alder in this Elite Four? What region does he fit into? I at least remember Flint from Gen 4. I can't say I remember everyone else.
I never remember anybody's names.
can we talk more about the Gen 6 Elite Four?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alpha. It's kind of like a Seinfeld joke.
All right, we already covered Seabold. Let's talk about Drasna, her Pokemon. So she's a Dragon type, obviously sporting.
Some of the worst dragon types possible.
Yeah, no Dragonite.
Dragalge.
Dragalge.
He's cool.
Druddigan.
He
Altaria,
sucks.
Altaria, and Noivern.
I like Noivern a lot.
He reminds me of Woody Allen.
Or you just,
Noivern?
Yeah.
I guess.
I require an explanation.
Because of the big ears are kind of like
Right,
glasses.
because of the
and
massive stereo on Woody Allen's face.
yes, and then the name Noivern just sounds like something that you'd expect
Noivern.
Woody Allen to say.
I'm yawning. This podcast is so boring. Were you disappointed there was no Salamence, no Dragonite, anything like that?
Yes. I was specifically disappointed for those reasons.
No Kingdra?
I really like Dragalge. I really like Noivern. I really like Druddigan. Altaria doesn't do much for me, but I really like
Altaria is like the worst dragon ever. Out of all the possible dragons, I think Altaria is the worst.
Let me see if I disagree.
I said this in my mini-series. I was super frustrated that not only does Seabold have Gyarados, but Malva has Pyroar, and both are Lysandre's Pokemon. And I feel like that takes so much away from Lysander. I'm going to say Lysandre. But I'm just saying, there's 718 Pokemon. Mix it up.
It is a little weird.
Malva has Pyroar, Torkoal, Chandelure, and Talonflame. I really like how she had Chandelure. I felt like that was a good mix-up.
Oh, but he's like one of your favorite Pokemon.
He is, but like he also gave me like the most trouble during that battle because I was not expecting her to throw out Chandelure.
Did you play with the experience share on or off, Steve?
On.
Okay.
I was pretty underleveled though. I got to Elite Four.
Really?
Yeah, because I kept switching Pokemon.
Oh, okay.
So I think my highest was pushing 55.
Mm-hmm.
And then Whiskstorm has Klefki,
Wikipedia Storm.
Probopass, Scizor, and Angel Slasher.
Aegislash. I really like Wickstrom's team.
Why do you
all
like Probopass?
Yeah, I don't think
It's a
anyone likes
giant
Probopass.
nose. It's adorable. It's funny.
It is funny.
Look at its eyes. Aw.
They're little beady screw eyes.
I know, it's cute.
It's not cute. It's the opposite of cute. It's kind
We
of
can agree-
horrifying.
We can agree that Klefki is cute, though, right?
Yeah.
Are you seriously making at the cuteness of Klefki?
Well, the problem
the most
is-
adorable Pokemon in the entire game.
No, Klefki is asymmetrical, and asymmetrical things
So
are
is
just
Slurpuff,
not
of course.
enjoyable.
The problem with
Slurpuff is more cute.
the problem with Boo Boo keys is that it should have random amounts of keys on its keychain.
The problem with Klefki is that it's just too perfect.
No, it's asymmetrical. It can never be perfect.
Let me lay down a perfect Pokemon for you. It's called Spinda.
Can't argue with you there.
Because it has a random amount of dots every time you encounter it, and that's incredible.
And it looks drunk.
Yeah, it is
Oh,
just
man.
fantastic. I would die happy if I personally encountered a shiny Spinda. I'm just saying.
Someday you will.
If there was any way to make Spinda competitive, I would take it to Indiana for the video game
People
championship.
used it in doubles for whatever its confusion move is that hits all the it's like something dance, teeter dance, because it hits all the opponents on the field. If I'm correct.
That sounds pretty legit. Doesn't it only have like base stats of 200?
Oh, it's an awful Pokemon, yeah.
Plus, it can't stand up straight.
Did you
Yeah.
guys get the whole Dragon Steel reference in according to Fairy type?
Say that again?
The reasons that two of the Elite Fours are one is Steel and one is Dragon is because Fairy is weak against Steel but strong against Dragon.
Well, I didn't realize that.
Fire resists Fairy.
Oh, see, I didn't even think of that. There you go. And then what
But
about
fire
water?
is strong
Water
against steel.
Water has no relationship to Fairy.
Maybe water was just like the crapshoot. They were like, oh, just throw it one more time. People like water.
People like water.
Is there a type that hasn't been on the Elite Four? Yup. Grass.
Yeah, there's lots of types that haven't been in the Elite Four, especially because they keep repeating things like Ghost and Dark.
Mm.
Yeah. Grass has not made it to the Elite Four. Poison has. Ground has.
Mm-hmm. Ice has. Right?
Ooh, electric hasn't.
Really? I
Yeah.
guess you're right, yeah.
No electric. No flying.
Has ice been?
Yeah, ice has been with Glacia in Gen 3.
Yeah.
No. Oh, and L'Oreal in Gen 1. No flying. It's interesting. I'm curious of what the water relation is because the fire, dragon, steel to fairy all make a lot of sense now.
Maybe they didn't want to make it all based around the new type. Just have enough stuff to like showcase what it is in your final run through.
Yeah, that's true.
Or maybe they just did it randomly and it just happens to deal with fairy a lot.
Roll the dice.
Hey, look at this. It's not like we've never done dragon before. Moving on to our champion. Were you guys excited about her?
Woo!
Her. I said her. Is this our first female champion?
No, Iris
Iris.
was.
Iris was in the game that
And
no
Cynthia.
one played. Black and White 2.
Cynthia.
Cynthia was a
Cynthia.
champion?
Oh my
What
god.
Are you Gen 4, Steve?
gen? Ooh.
You were going to get cut.
You're talking about old times when Steve was still in high school.
I just heard somebody in Canada get on a city bus on their way down to Milwaukee to cut you.
Milwaukee.
Kill walk. Look, not all my jokes are perfect.
Milwaukee.
Diantha, is that her name?
Diantha.
Diantha?
Didn't you kind of know from like the first moment you saw her talking to Professor Sycamore that was going to be the champion?
I thought she was
I'm-
Elite Four.
I'm dumb, so I just didn't get it.
Let me tell you what went through my mind. First, I was like, oh, she's the fairy type gym leader. And then you get to Valerie and you're like, oh, never mind. She's just probably Elite Four. And then when you see all Elite Four members, you're like, well, there's only one possibility this could be. Lysandre.
Now, first thing that came to my mind was she stole those angel wings off some gay circuit club dude from 1999. Man, she's a throwback.
Were you disappointed that the Elite Four didn't use megas?
No.
Her Guard of War Mega evolves.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, she uses the mega, but I'm talking about the other
Oh, you
four.
mean the Elite Four?
Well, not everybody can get Megastones. They have very limited supply.
You know,
I like that there weren't that many Megas you encountered. It made it like an event when it happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
And it's also further proof that the Elite Four don't really love their Pokemon. Because you have to really love your Pokemon for Mega Evolution to work.
Is Diantha related to anyone? Is she in anything?
I think she's dating Professor Sycamore.
Do you think?
Yeah, because they were having coffee together.
Oh, that's right. He was also having coffee with Lysandre.
She's an actor,
I
right?
think
That's what they
that he is
specified.
dating several people. She's an actress, yeah.
What was her team again?
She runs with a Hawlucha.
Yeah.
Tyrantrum,
Yup.
an Aurorus, a
Ooh.
Gorgeist, a Goodra,
Yeah.
and a Mega Gardevoir. Mega
Which might-
Gardevoir. It's a
which-
cool Pokemon.
My brother pronounces Gardover, and the first time I kept hearing him say that, I was like, wait, you can't get Garbodor that early in the game.
Yeah.
Mega Garbodor. He just turns into a dump truck.
That'd be so cool. Those like roll out or steamroller or whatever.
Both.
How's your? Oh, you haven't. I was going to say, how's your Gardevoir doing? But no Poke Transporter yet.
That Pokebank's still unreleased.
Did you guys have trouble battling Diantha, or no? You kind of steamrolled her?
I didn't change up my Pokemon that much, so I was very over leveled. All my Pokemon
Yeah.
were around like level 80 going into the
Wow.
league.
My Talonflame and my Mega Blastoise were pretty much enough to kill anything.
Wow. I feel so
My
mediocre.
Slurpuffs are ran train on her Olucha Tyrantrum and Goodra.
I liked her variety of Pokemon.
I did too.
And then you guys, then you had the parade afterwards for saving the world,
Yay!
which I thought was beating the Elite Four.
No, and then you were like all angry because your
Yeah, my
friends got
friends
to
were.
be in the parade too, and you're like, I did all the work.
Yeah, exactly. No reason to be there.
Can we talk about the thing with
After the parade,
AZ? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
Because that's really cool.
It's all you, Travis.
so why is his name AZ? Can you tell me that?
He's from Arizona.
He loves Amazon. Everything
Yeah.
from A to Z.
He once went to a zoo. And that's all I got.
He loves A-class zines.
Whoa.
Whoa.
That's a stretch. So here's the lowdown.
Here's the AZ.
When you've defeated the champion of the Kalos region, you got your parade for saving the world. This large in stature fellow AZ rolls up. He's like, "Can I battle you?" And you're like, "Yeah." And
Do
then
you
he
have
has
an
a
option to say no? I don't think so.
I don't remember. And he's got a Torkoal.
Again, super upsetting that he has a Torkoal.
He has a Golurk, awesome Pokemon, and he has a Sigilif, awesome Pokemon. And it's just those three. And then you beat him, and he's like, "That was cool." And then his buddy, the Floette, who we
Yeah.
talked about before, returns, and it's the most beautiful reunion, and I love it. And
Did a tear come to your eye?
maybe one
Maybe one. I actually
single tear.
forgot about AZ going through the Elite Four. And I was like, oh, yeah, I forgot they didn't wrap up the
It's like
storyline.
it's like the coolest character in the game by far.
You think so?
Yes,
I don't know. I would argue that Sycamore is one of the coolest characters.
Sycamore is very cool as well because of his theme, his musical
Well,
theme.
Who invented a weapon of ultimate destruction many thousands of years before its time? And who is just another knockoff Pokemon professor with a tree name who's like, I got, there's mega things,
Here
whatever.
goes the boom. There goes the slam.
Is AZ the first person that breaks the barrier in a Pokemon game for living age?
3,000 years?
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
I mean, like everyone else, like lives and dies, and I get that.
is actually eternal.
Yeah, is like does N or Gessis or
No. I can't think of anyone.
what about Alder?
Alder's just a dude.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. They're all just dudes except for AZ.
yeah, AZ is the,
That's-
you were correct.
That's one of the reasons why he's the coolest character in the game.
Does that bother you guys that like he breaks that reality in Pokemon? I get Pokemon's not that real, but in a sense, he breaks a reality that has been established.
I really like that he's sort of a hint that there's a lot more going on in this world than we really have knowledge of, and they don't really get into why he's 3,000 years old or like what the mechanics of the weapon are. I sort of like that. There's more than meets the eye.
Well, yeah, that's not the only mystery. Like the Any Star, what is that thing called with the clock and the light and the
Ampharos.
No, Any Star Town. Where do you make a clock and you put the triangle and the light goes and it tells you what time it is? What is
Majora's
that called?
Mask.
No,
I don't know what it's called either, but the Megastone thing.
Yes, but the mystery about that, and how that was created and where that came from, and nobody knows, and there's not like a clear and easy explanation that they just give you. So you just have to wonder, who made this at what time, and is it actually related to the ultimate weapon? What is it? We obviously know it's related to Megastones, which are related to the ultimate weapon. I think maybe. Something Ghosts of Dead Pokemon, kind of like Full Metal Alchemist. Who knows? There, it's all tied to Full Metal Alchemist. There you go.
There you go. So, you guys like that there's the mystery?
Yeah, I like mystery.
AZ, fun fact, talking about mystery, is actually named after Agatha Christie. This is not a true thing I just said. This is a lie.
I feel like Bulbapedia did explain his name. Because, like, isn't N's name, like, Notorious, Geno?
Natural harmonious,
I think it's Harmonium. Or is Harmonium the stuff from My Little Pony?
Natural Harmonia Gropius. So, do with that what you will.
No, I lied. There was no reference to his name. They just said AZ is the tallest person in the main series of Pokemon games. AZ is the oldest known human in the history of Pokemon games otherwise. Is that really a fact? Do we know he's a human?
He's a human.
Is he?
Yeah, he was an ancient king.
What human lives 3,000 years?
Well, it's the secret to eternal life is to fall in love with a Pokemon and then diss it, and then you feel so bad.
He could be a Ditto.
Time you can't die. How could he be a Ditto? Dittos can't impersonate human beings.
You don't know that? What if it's a Ditto with its own Megastone? See, now I'm onto something here. Trev's just losing it.
The reason, like he's just got like the really beady eyes. The anime depictions of.
He really looks quite homeless.
He does. I mean, it would be some good cosplay to be him. Wouldn't be too hard.
Just get a big coat.
Get a big coat, get a white wig, and then put a red beanie on. Stand on Will's shoulders.
Floette.
Good love Floette. Oh, wait, Lysandre is related to him?
Yeah.
Did we know this? When did they say this?
At the point where it was there.
Oh, yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm just going off Wikipedia. It says relatives Lysandre, younger brother's descendant.
I think you had to read the lyrics to the closing song.
No.
Oh, oops.
I think they're when they talk about when he's like in the cell in the basement of the Team Flare hideout or whatever. They talk about that.
Yeah. That story, man. Have we all decided if this was our favorite Pokemon game?
Pokemon Black and White is my favorite game still.
Really?
Yeah, I'm cheesed off about the whole fact that you can't generate Megastones to trade to other people, and you have to buy 2 copies. This is the first time I have ever bought a copy of each game in a generation.
And so that was not... Well, obviously it was a selling point because you bought 2.
Yeah, the Cynics won. Then they got double my money.
See, Steve, I'm conflicted. I really love Pokemon X and Y. On the one hand, I love that makes competitive breeding and an EV training with hordes and even super training. It's at least more visible, but with hordes it's a lot easier. I like that. I like that there's a lower barrier of entry towards competitive play, sort of making RNG manipulation other than for shinies sort of useless, which is really cool. More people will be playing legitly and will be rewarded for doing so. That's really cool. And I actually like that it's like definitely the easiest Pokemon game because of the EXP share. I like that. I don't know. I don't really play a Pokemon single player game for challenge. I think it's fun to sort of breeze through. But on the other hand, I don't. I feel like it's sort of bloated. Like the 2 starters and the Mega Evolutions and the collecting the Mega Stones doesn't feel cohesive.
What to do, yeah.
You know what I mean?
But you know what really tells, and it kind of is a review of the game in itself. I play X and Y. No, I play X and Y. My mom plays X and Y. My brother plays X and Y. My sister-in-law plays X and Y. My 6-year-old nephew plays X and Y. And, it's something that we actually can all do. My mom enjoys it. She's 68 years old, down to my 6-year-old nephew. Everybody enjoys it. Everybody's, and we love talking about it. And, just as a family, it's something that we can all do together. So, if that is in any way a success, it is hugely successful that way.
Is your mother okay with your disclosing her age?
Yes, she's not ashamed of her age. She's not Midwestern.
Well, you make a good point. What do you think? Do you think you could have got your mom to play Black and White, or do you think that the changes and the difference to X and Y were significant enough for her to get into over Black and White or Black and White 2?
She kind of got into it because of Animal Crossing, and I think having the higher quality graphic representation is something that really brought her in.
What I like about the models and the new battle sequences is there's a lot more visual representation of what's going on. Even in terms of audio, it's a lot more simple because there's a different sound for not very effective and super effective that sort of give you the idea that what you did was a good thing or a bad thing. I think you can sort of just experience those sorts of rules that those of us who have been playing the game since the first set sort of just have ingrained in our memory. There's a lot more intuitive stuff that hints at that, which I think is really cool about this game.
So Travis, if you're not picking X and Y, what's your go-to jam?
Heart Gold, Soul Silver.
Heart Gold, Soul Silver.
I still need to play that.
That menu system is just too intuitive.
It does have a good menu system. I'm a pretty forward thinker when it comes to games, and it's hard for me to go back.
Mm-hmm.
And I did love X and Y, and I love doing the miniseries. And I would say that X and Y is my favorite, obviously over Black and White and Black and White 2. Heart Gold Soul Silver is a real close one, but after prepping that game for Pokemon Bank, and that's what kind of made me realize, and I don't know if it was because it was a remake, but after going back to that game and seeing almost all my boxes were empty or were just leftovers of like Zubats and Pidgeys, I was just like, obviously, and I believe I put like 80 hours into that game. I was like, obviously I wasn't into that game as I remember, because in X and Y my Pokedex is up to like 260, and that was way less hours than. So I'm not sure what I did differently, because it's not like the Pokemon I transferred from that game were anything that special. But obviously you take your Pokemon with you because you've invested the time. To me, it's interesting to go back and see what you've accomplished according to what you've accomplished there. So because I know I've accomplished more and I've done more, that's why I feel X and Y was superior in my eyes. If that's an argument for anything.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's the fact that you were driven to more accomplishment. So
yeah.
Driven to madness.
I was driven to Mega Garbodor. I think that moves us to the Pokemon of the week. And this week's Pokemon, I'm just going to throw it on you guys,
Oh no.
is Starmie.
Oh.
Starmie.
Starmie, as you guys are looking this up, comes from Staryu and has to evolve via the Water Stone.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I guess I assumed it was a normal leveler.
I assumed that too, and then when I read that, I was like, "Oh yeah, I am old." Starmie also is genderless and semi-popular. I don't know if it's popular anymore, but it was popular in competitive play back in the day.
Better than like I think Gen 4 is probably safe to say. Like it's best when it had its best time because its coverage was really good then.
And it was super quick.
Yeah. I don't know if many people are using it now. I guess it's still good because rapid spin is always a good thing. And the typing is good for stab. Both water and psychic are good offensively.
Looks like it can only learn one fairy move, Dazzling Gleam. I don't know if that's any good.
Dazzling Gleam is like, I think it's 80 base power.
Yeah.
In doubles, fun fact, it actually hits both the opponents.
That seems good.
In singles, most people do something
left.
like can it get skull?
It can get Scald.
Yeah. But I think people would prefer Surf over it because it is offensive. So it's either like Surf or Hydro Pump, depending on whether you want to invest. Like take the chance and the extra power, but the lower accuracy, and then like Psychic or Psycho, or I was gonna say either Psychic or Psycho Shock. No, Psyshock. That's what that movie's called. I'm just all over the place. So it's going to be like Hydro Pump, Psyshock, and then Thunderbolt, and then like Rapid Spin usually.
Really? No Reflect? No Thunder Wave?
It's not bulky enough to really pull off that sort of thing where it's going to cripple the opponent. The only time you see like something like that is like if a Pokemon's really fast and has a lot of those support moves, or has Prankster and a lot of those, like Male Meowstic is something like that, where it's not very good offensively, but because it's fast enough, it can sort of set up reflects and light screens and that sort of thing. But once Starmie has the offensive capability to take stuff down, it's usually utilized for that.
Got it. For as old as Starmie is, being one of the original 150, and for appearing in the anime quite a bit, there's not much on Bulbapedia about it in terms of describing it. And if for the listeners that don't know, Starmie is 2 stars on top of each other, with another star on top of that, with a gem in the middle.
Yeah.
Real basic. Surprisingly, it also doesn't have a lot of trivia about it. It only has 2 trivia points. One being that despite being a genderless Pokemon, Starmie and Staryu were able to learn egg moves in Gold and Silver. This was fixed in Crystal, where they could no longer breed with any Pokemon except Ditto.
Huh.
You would think the age of Starmie would give it a little more, but there you have it. Not much.
Yeah, it's just not that exciting of a Pokemon. It's possibly one of the dullest.
Yeah.
You can only find Staryu at night.
Yes. There was a thing at one point that somewhere I read that Starmie and Staryu communicated with the stars by blinking.
Yeah, they're from space.
No, they're from the water.
They're from space.
Yeah, I think I read somewhere they're from space. Because their description is the mysterious Pokemon. You would think it would just be the starfish Pokemon. But it's not. It's not a starfish. It's mysterious.
Let me see if I can find some actual text of this, because I want to make
Pokemon
sure I'm not just spouting lies.
Pokemon Stadium says when away from human eyes, its core is said to glow mysteriously in 7 colors. this Pokemon may have come from outer space.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
But-
yeah.
I'm pretty certain that it comes from the water because you use a super rod to catch it.
And then in Fire Red, it says, this Pokemon has a geometric body. Because of its body, the locals suspect that it's an alien creature.
Yep.
That makes Starmie 10 times cooler.
Have you ever seen an actual starfish in the real world?
Yeah, and there was no gems on the inside of them.
But
That's
did you
really
know
disappointing.
that you can cut it into pieces, and as long as each piece has a portion of the center section, each one will grow into a new starfish?
Really?
Yep.
That is some alien being crap right there. Okay?
The more
You
you
chop
know.
me up, and I'm done. I'm not growing into 7 wills.
Speak for yourself.
All right, fine, Travis. You're a freak.
Starmie has a cool shiny. It's blue with the skin is blue, then the center is pink with a blue gem instead of purple, yellow, red.
Yeah, once again, not plussed.
Better than just a darker yellow that Pikachu gets.
Not everybody can have a spectacular shiny.
That's right. I think that's all we got.
Yeah.
That's all we got. We accomplished a lot from Snoop Lion to Starmie.
Well, because you wouldn't let me talk about vegetables.
Another day. We can talk about it on our My Little Pony podcast.
Sweet.
My Little Podcast.
My Little Podcast.
Podcast, yes.
Like promised, before we get to the credits, I said if you left us a review in iTunes, we would give you a shout out and read it. And this started with the one that I read on December 20th, or the one that was posted on December 20th, which is my favorite thing about the show is how SBJ incorrectly pronounces 95% of the Pokemon names and towns. That was from 8 Renan. He gave us 5 stars.
No, you have to mispronounce all of their names now,
Ooh,
too.
yeah.
I think he just did.
I think I did. But we got 2 more reviews since then, so I'm going to give them shout outs. And if you are a listener and you haven't given us a review in iTunes and you want a shout out, it's the free way to do it. So this is from Nick Bonzanzi, titled, They Talk About Organs a Lot. I started following the hosts on Twitter, and they are nothing like I thought they would. Oh, they look like nothing I thought they would.
I wonder what that means.
I look like a horse apparently right now because that's my Twitter icon.
Travis is a horse.
MS Paint horse.
I was going to say a not particularly well-drawn horse. And this is a green, too?
It is a red horse with a black and purple spiked mane because it's a punk and it's in a green lawn. In the full picture, he's looking. We can get into this later.
And no coincidence at all, I just read the title of this review, but it's titled 5 Starmies from Lollipop Madness. I love listening to these podcasts as I'm doing tedious things in Pokemon such as breeding, and this is very informative and keeps me up to date. Thank you for making these. You may have a loyal listener.
Slow down. We're informative.
That's a first.
Well, you learned a lot about reggae music today.
You learned anything about reggae music.
Yeah, you learned that Snoop Dogg, who is now Snoop Lion, loves him some Pokemans.
But he still doesn't do reggae. He's still doing hip-hop.
No, it's reggae now.
No.
No, it is a reggae album.
He might,
dude.
He might categorize what?
He categorizes the reggae. Whether or not you want it to be reggae.
Reggae music
that's what he's
is
calling
the
it.
interpretation of South Asian ragas mixed with the natural, what is they called? Native folks of the Caribbean island musics, and that's kind of what you get out of Jamaica.
Pirates of the Caribbean?
Yeah.
Will, where can they find
Be
you?
off the edge of the map, mate. Here, there be Nido Queens.
Well, they can't find me with the Nido Queens because I don't hang out with those kinds of dudes. But I'm going to be at the Virginia Pokemon Regionals in Dewswell, Virginia. When even when I talk to local people, they're like, "Where's Dewswell?" And all I have to say is, "It's where King's Dominion is." So I will be there next weekend. That's the 11th, I think. And then I won't post anything on Twitter about that because Twitter is so last year. But if you want to follow me not posting things, that's at Wash in the Sink, WASHINTHESINK.
And he is nothing like he looks like.
I don't even know what I look like.
I don't even know what you look like.
I'm like the most like nondescript white dude you've ever met.
Handsome gentleman. Yeah, twitter.com/TheTravisW. That's all that matters at this point. Because I've been lazy on that podcast.
Very lazy. I think I looked, and the last time you posted was July?
Sounds about right.
I'm going to call up DJ and complain.
Classic.
DJ is going to give you the same story as me.
If you guys care to follow me on Twitter, you can do so. It's at Dragging a Lake. You can follow the podcast on Twitter at Pokemon Podcast. You can like us on Facebook, facebook.com/PKMNcast. You can +1 us on Google+, plus.google.com/+PKMNcast. Not confusing at all, if you caught that. We have a YouTube channel now. However you find YouTube, just go to YouTube and type in Pokemon Podcast. I'm sure we'll pop up. And you can subscribe to us there. The only reason we have a YouTube is for people who don't listen to us in iTunes or on the website or on Stitcher or on Scatter Radio. There's a lot of ways to listen to us, so we are just trying to branch out there. And that's pretty much all I got. Review us on iTunes if you haven't done so. Buy some Foot Cardigans socks and support our sponsor.
Yeah.
And make fun of Travis's Twitter picture.
Yeah.
There we go. This has been another episode of the Pokemon Podcast, and we are
Super effective.
Now the thing about my Twitter picture is that he's in a green lawn and there's a fence and there's a gray lawn on the other side because the grass isn't always greener on the other side. I did not draw this. It's beautiful.
That just makes me feel even worse about myself. I preferred it when it was a mystery.